Well, if you're a practiced Ontario wine drinker, then perhaps you've already sampled your way through the wines of Prince Edward County. Maybe you've taken so many vineyard tours through the Niagara region that you know every turn and pothole in County Road 81. Well, then it's time to turn over a new grape leaf. The word point in Viewpointe Estate Winery comes from Point Peely. It's one of a handful of grape growers on Lake Erie's North Shore, and that makes today's Cabernet Merlot one of the most southerly and westerly Ontario wines you can buy. We'll get the details from Ontario Today's wine expert, Konrad Ejbich, in just a moment. But first, the number to call to put a question to him, 1-888-817-8995. Konrad, how are you this afternoon?
I'm pretty good.
Tell us more about the wine we're sharing today.
Well, I've just learned something from you, the point about the word point. I never knew that referred to Point Peely. I'm not even sure that it does. I think it just that they have a different point of view.
Could be. Well, that could be too. And what would make that true?
Well, they're I suppose on the mainland they are the southernmost winery. When you're standing in their gorgeous winery, it's the prettiest winery in Lake Erie North Shore. It's probably also the biggest. It's got a great view off the back 40 there, looking at the lake, and you can see across to wherever you want to look across to.
Is it an old winery? How old?
No, not at all. It was started about 2001 in terms of plans and planting and growing. I can hear you clicking that screw cap too.
I'm getting my bottle open too. I figured
it's a screw cap, so you should know. It's easy access wine.
Sure.
No tools required. No special permissions. So around 2001 or so, they dug the first shovelful, and were licensed around 2006. Their vintages have one of the things that Steve, John, and Gene Fancy have done in trading from the car business for winemaking is that they've brought in a style of winemaking that I find very appealing and has potential to age. So the bottom line is they're everyday Cabernet, and this is an everyday Cabernet Merlot. It's not their top of the line stuff. It just goes with foods and friends. It's they have other wines. They're high-end wines, and the beauty is that the high-end wines go for a song compared with Niagara and Prince Edward County pricing.
Okay. Is this a good time of year in particular for wines from the Lake Erie region?
I think every time of the year is a good time for wines from the Lake Erie North Shore region. Basically, no, these are wines that have these are wines that come from a region that has more warmth than the rest of Ontario. It has a longer summer than the rest of Ontario. It is also economically depressed since the car business is not really that strong these days, and farming is not really that strong these days, and most Americans don't cross the border at Detroit because they have to have passports, and they're afraid of dealing with their own home security, as we are. So it's basically what we're saying is that Viewpointe and most of the wineries in the Lake Erie North Shore area offer great value because they can't grab the same prices that Niagara, which has a long history, and which Prince Edward County, which has great public relations, can charge.
Well, I'm speaking, of course, with Konrad Ejbich. He's our wine expert. The number to call if you have a question about wine is 888-817-8995. Now, Konrad, I have poured myself a little of this Cabernet Merlot, but I wonder how much of my glass is Cabernet, how much is Merlot? Do we know in a blend?
I'm not sure if it actually says on the label, but it would. The fact that it says Cabernet Merlot and not Merlot Cabernet means that there is more Cabernet than there is Merlot, and it could be anywhere from 50.1% to 99.0%, right? Basically, but the point is that the Cabernet is a big, tough, strong grape. It gives full, almost crunchy, stiff, gripping structure to the wine, whereas Merlot offers fleshiness and softness. And when the two come together, you get something that has what I call muscle tone.
Oh, okay.
And on a table, on a wine table, or just if you're drinking something on its own, that's fine because it's a complete wine. It's not a great wine in the sense of bigness or longevity, ability to cellar this. It's a great wine in terms of something that offers you exactly what you've paid for. Is a really good drink for a low price, and it's $12.95. It's available now. Here is one beef that I have, really big beef with this wine. Mm-hmm. And speaking of beef, it goes great with beef.
Okay.
The fact that I had to purchase. I had to look at the website, the LCBO's website, to find out where they have it. Normally, I offer wines that are available only at the wineries, but here's one that's supposed to be available at the LCBO, and the LCBO takes great credit for promoting Ontario wines. This wine is not available in a single store north of Collingwood Barrie, except for one, and there are 3 bottles in Red Rock, Ontario. Okay, but if you're in Sudbury or Marathon or Callander or Thunder Bay or Sault Ste. Marie or Hearst or Kapuskasing or Wawa or any of these, or Ottawa, you cannot get this wine. So the LCBO does not deserve the credit that they get for listing local wines, because they're not spreading them out far enough. People want these wines, LCBO.
Perhaps people,
so let's have them everywhere.
Long weekend, they'll take a road trip down to Viewpointe Estate Winery and pick up a bottle or two on their own. Stu, that's the other reason that area is slightly depressed, is because it's 4 hours drive from Toronto and 7 hours drive from Ottawa, or 8 hours from Ottawa. So people can't get there as easily, and they should be ordering either from the websites, or the LCBO should be making them more widely available. That's the end of my rant now. All right, that's a good little, that's a fair rant. I mean, if it's a good wine, people should have access to it.
It's a terrific wine.
Let's go to the